Today I'm going to be rebuilding my personal website from scratch. Now I do have a personal website already, but it's a bit crappy. It doesn't have any information, it doesn't provide anything to visitors, but it does have this cool thing that mixes up different fictional characters and places. I'll definitely find a way to include that in the next one. Also, I don't know how to design. The previous website was actually just an eyeballed copy of a template that I found online. So I'm going to be using AI to design this site, and this is fantastic for me because I've always been able to make sites quite well, I just haven't been able to design them very well. Step 1 is going to be vibe coding, but step 2 is not going to be vibe coding. So it's important that you bring your own opinions because AI will generate anything and everything without rules. So your job as someone who's a professional coder or an advanced coder is to guide it down a very narrow, repeatable path without repeating yourself. So because I haven't got a very mature process yet, during this process today, I'm on the lookout for any incorrect assumptions that the AI makes or places where I have to repeat myself, and that can be then used to improve my process next time. I'm going to be using Air from JetBrains today with Codex as my agentic environment. So, step 1, vibe coding, the fun bit. I'm going to use Codex to generate a static HTML, CSS and JavaScript prototype. So these are the basic web languages that the model will be able to work best in for the sake of producing a prototype. It's just pure vibe coding, there's no need to look at the code. So I'll start with a plan first to see what Codex plans to do with my vague requirements. Now, Codex has decided to ask some follow-up questions, which is pretty cool. Once I've answered them, it's time to let the model do its thing. Now, that can take a little bit of time to finish, so I've got some time to chill. Okay, so the results come back. It looks pretty cool, but I do want to have a spot to put my headshot on the homepage. Now, step 2 is using Codex again to convert the prototype into a web application, and this is why I vibe coded step 1, because all of that code is going to be replaced with new code, and all we're going to be keeping from that is the design. So I'm going to bring in my agents.md from another project that I have already created that tells the model what technologies I want to use. And at this point is where I'm bringing in my own opinions and my own framework and library choices. Now it's going to be important to review all the code that's written by the AI because I'm going to be responsible for maintaining this code base for the lifetime of the project. So it's important that the code adheres to my personal preferences. Okay, it's done a pretty good job of that so far, but it has got some issues that I would address if I was writing this code. I've told it to use Panda CSS, but I can see quite a few places where it's using class name selectors, and I don't want it to do that. I've also noticed that it's defining local variables for styles, and it shouldn't really be doing that. It should be using the Panda config file properly. For some reason, all the pages in styles are defined within portfolio.tsx and portfolio.styles.ts, so I'm not quite sure what's going on there. And that's it, I'm just going to leave it there for the time being. Now this site isn't finished yet, but as usual, the work that goes into producing a website follows the 80-20 rule. I've just done 80% of the work in about 20% of the time, and the remaining 20% of the work is going to take a lot of time. As you can see, it's a little rough around the edges, and there's a lot of things I'm going to have to manually address myself. For example, if I start writing blog posts, I'm probably going to write them as markdown files, and so I'm going to want to have some way to index and render those markdown files. I've learned a little bit about my process today, and I'm going to have to update my agents.md file because the AI's made some incorrect assumptions. I would update mine about the Panda CSS issue, but I was thinking to myself, something doesn't seem right about this. I have a Panda CSS MCP server, and it should be using that to write Panda CSS properly. So I checked my Panda CSS MCP server, and it's crashed. That's probably why it wasn't using Panda CSS properly. So I'm going to have to figure out why the MCP server is not working and get the AI to rewrite a lot of the styles. Anyway, hopefully you enjoyed watching the video. If you did, like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Ciao.